Hi everyone, I welcome you back to this channel Technical Drawing Masterclass. So in this video I'm going to show you how you can draw the roof frame structure. If you really want to know the difference between the roof plan and the roof frame structure, please stick with me until the end of this video and you really get to know the real difference between those two drawings. So for the roof framing plan, we majorly show the alignment of the rafters that run across the roof. So this always helps the carpenter on site to easily locate the positions of these rafters. So let's get into AutoCAD and I'll show you exactly how to do it. So now for the roof framing plan, we are going to get it from this roof plan. So in our last video I showed you how you can easily draw the roof plan from the floor plan. So if you really want to get to know how you can draw the roof plan, still you can go back to my last video that I last made. Then you can easily watch it, then you get to know all the steps I followed up to come to this. So in today's video we are going to look at the roof framing plan. So for the roof framing plan, we majorly draw the rafters, showing how they are aligned across the roof. So let me show you exactly how you can do it in AutoCAD. So I'll highlight the roof plan drawing, then I have a copy of it. Then maybe I'll place it right there. I'll press escape. Then I'll first edit this one. To roof framing plan. Okay, so right now I'll delete this hatch that I have right now. So I'm going to do away with the roof ridge, such that I can only remain with these middle lines. So when you're done with highlighting them, you simply place the delete button on the keyboard and they kindly disappear. So what I'm going to do is, let me show you something here. Then I'm going to highlight my layer for roof right there. So everything that I'm going to draw here is going to be under the layer for roof. So remember, at the beginning I told you that for the roof framing plan, we majorly show the alignment of the rafters across the roof. So remember, if I'm to draw a cross section of a rafter, in most cases it's ever 50 millimeters by a height of 100 millimeters. So this is it. So if we give it a hatch, they are mostly represented by a cross line. Like this. So you find that this is 50 and this is 100. So if you're drawing a roof framing plan, you always see this rafter from the top. That means you won't be able to see this side of the rafter. So we are only going to use this side, which is of a dimension of 50 millimeters. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you. Let me delete it because it's not part of the video. I just wanted to illustrate something such that you better understand me. So right now I'll use the rectangle command and I draw a square of 50 by 50. Okay, so I'll highlight this square, then I'll move it right here. Still, I'll highlight it, then I'll hover my cursor at this middle blue dot, let me call it that. Then AutoCAD will show me this box having stretch, add vertex, then convert to arch, but then I'll select stretch. So I'll stretch it up to this point. Okay, then still I'll stretch that point up to this point right there. Then I'll press escape, then still I'll draw another square of the same dimensions, 50 by 50 millimeters. Then I'll highlight it. This time I'm going to rotate it at an angle of 45. Still I'll highlight it, then I'll move it up to this point right there. So now still I'll stretch it up to that point. Then if I want another rafter running from this point up to this point, yeah, I'll just mirror this one that I've highlighted. So I'll click at the mirror command, then I place my cursor at this point, then I'll just move it in a vertical way up to that point. Then I'll click no, such that I have my original copy and a duplicate copy. Okay, so after that I'm going to highlight this line, then I'll stretch it up to this point. Okay, next I'll click at the offset command, then I'll offset that line at a distance of 600 millimeters. Then I'll do multiple offsets. Okay, so after that I'll highlight this ridge board, then I'll click at the copy command, then I'll simply click at that point, then I'll transfer a copy of that ridge board to these points. Okay, all right, so when I press escape, this is what I have. Then I'll highlight these rafters, then I'll place my cursor at that point, then I stretch it in up to that point, then I'll do the same thing to these other rafters. Okay, sorry, it's supposed to end here. So next, so I'm going to mirror these jack rafters this side. So what I'm going to first do is I'm going to erase this or trim off these protruding parts of the rafters. So what I've done is I've highlighted this this hip rafter such that it can be easy for me to trim off these protruding parts. So I'll click at the trim command. Then I'll simply trim them off. So I'll highlight them. Then I'll click at the mirror command. Then I'll place my cursor at this point. Then I'll stretch it up to this point right here. Then I'll click no. Yeah, so you find that I have my rafters mirrored at this part of the roof. So right now I have these lines that are extending up to this side of the roof, and I don't want them. So I'll simply highlight this line. Then I'll click at the trim command. Then I'll trim them off. Okay. So still I'm going to mirror these same rafters this side. So still I'll do the highlighting of these rafters. Then I'll click still at the mirror command. Then I'll place my cursor at this point. Then I'll simply drag it up to that point. Then I'll press no. So after that, you see that I have rafters this side and this side. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line from this point running up to that point right there, and I'll highlight it. Then I'll offset it at a distance of 600. Like that. So I'll highlight this line and that line. So I'll select my layer, my command for extend. Then I'll simply click at these lines. So I'll highlight that line. Then I'll select trim. Then I'll trim off these lines such that I want them to be ending at this line. Yeah, they shouldn't be exceeding this line. So I'll highlight, oh sorry, I need to use another square. So it should be 50 millimeters by 50. Then I'll simply move it up to this point right here. Then I'll drag it up to this point. Then I'll click at the copy command. Then I'll click at this point. Then I'll simply copy that rafter to these different points. Okay, so after that I'll highlight these rafters, then I'll click at this point right there, then I'll simply drag them in up to that point. Then I'll do the same thing right here up to that point. Then also I'll do the same thing right here. Then lastly up to that point. So remember that also this side, at this line right here, there should be a valley rafter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this hipped rafter. I'm going to copy it right here. Okay. Let me first put each and everything here under the layer for roof, such that I don't confuse anything. Okay, so now we are under, I think we have the right things that we need to deal with. So right now I'll highlight that valid after, then I'll click at the trim command, then I'll trim off those excess or protruding parts of those rafters. Okay, so when you're done, we're going to handle this part of the roof. So still I'll have to copy this hipped rafter to this side. Yeah, so I'll highlight it the way I've done, and simply I'll click at this point, then I'll copy it up to this point right here. Okay, so when you're done with copying it, I'll simply mirror it this side. Yeah, so now still I'll draw another square 50 millimeters by 50 millimeters, and I'll move it at this point. Then I'll highlight it, then I'll stretch it out up to this point right here. Then after that I'll click at this line, then I'll stretch it up to still this point. Then after that I'll mirror it at a distance of 600 millimeters. So I'll stretch this one until it meets this point, because it's not supposed to end somewhere here. It makes no sense. So I'll do the same thing to this other hip rafter. I'll stretch it up to that point. Okay, so I'll click at this ridge board, then I'll click at the copy command, and simply I'll copy it to these points. So still I'll highlight these rafters, then I'll simply drag them in up to that point where they meet with the fascia board. I'm going to put the fascia board when I'm done with placing the rafters. So some of you might be wondering why I haven't put it, but I'm going to put it. So I just want to first deal with the rafters, then when I'm done I'll show you how you can put the fascia board. Okay, so after that you simply highlight this hip rafter, then you trim off these protruding parts of the jack rafters. So as you can see, there is a lot of trimming, mirroring, yeah, to achieve the roof framing plan. Okay, so still I'll highlight these jack rafters, then I'll mirror them to this other part of the roof. So simply I'll click at this point, then I'll stretch it up to this point, then I'll click no. So you see that my jack rafters have been mirrored to this part, yeah, of the roof. Okay, so don't mind a bit about this point, I'll sort it out. Right now I want to first trim off these lines, because if there are too many they can easily confuse you. So you erase every line that you feel like you don't need, such that you can easily do clean work. So at this point I'll draw a line from this point up to that point right there, then I'll highlight it, and I'll give it a distance of 600, all an offset of 600. I think that will be enough. So I'll highlight that line and that line, and I'll select my command for extend, then I'll extend these lines until they meet this line that I've just drawn. No, this line that I've highlighted. So still I'll highlight this line, select my layer for trim, I mean the command for trim. So I'll simply trim off these lines. Oh god. So still I'll do another square 50 by 50. Then I'll highlight it and I'll move it up to that point right there. So I'll click at the copy command, then I'll copy this jack rafter up to that point. Then I'll simply drag them up to those different points. Also this one. Okay. So oh, what had happened to this? So it's like I'd left out one rafter that is supposed to be at this point right there. So let me first place it right there. So simply I'll highlight this valley rafter, then I'll click trim, then I'll simply trim off these protruding parts of these rafters. Okay. So after that, I'm going to mirror these rafters. Okay, these jack rafters, yeah, this side. So I'll simply highlight them. Yeah. There is one more left, this one. So I'll click at the mirror command, then I'll click at that point, then I'll stretch out my cursor up to this point, then I'll click no. What? It's like I've done a mistake. Let's try it again. I was supposed to mirror them across this line right here. Yeah, not here. I was supposed to do it from here. Okay. So after that, I'll click at that line, then I'll offset it at a distance of 600. Yeah. So after that, I want to put a ridge board here, and also I want to put another ridge board right here. Then also I'll put another valley rafter right here. So let me first trim off all these excess lines. like that. Also this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll highlight this hip rafter, then I'll simply copy it at this point right there. Then I'll copy it at that point. Okay, then I'll get this ridge board also. Then I'll copy it to this point. So I'll highlight it, then I'll try to move it up to, I'll stretch it in up to this point right here. Okay, so after that, still I'll get this vary rafter, then also I'll copy it to this point. Okay, so I'll highlight it, then I'll stretch it in up to this point right here. Then still I'll copy this hip rafter, then I'll paste it at that point. Still I'll highlight it, then I'll simply stretch it in up to that point right there. Okay, so after that, I'll use still my square right here, 50 by 50 millimeters. Then I'll click at the move command, then I'll move it up to this point. But before I can do anything, let me first extend these lines up to this line up here. So I'll click at the extend command. Now simply click at these lines. So when you're done, you press escape, then we come back at this square, then we stretch it out up to that point. Then I'll simply copy it to these different points. So right now, I'll stretch in these rafters up to that point. So I'll highlight this ridge board, then I'll select trim, then I'll trim off these like protruding parts of the rafters. Then I'll do the same thing for this side. So I'll highlight this rafter, then I'll stretch it in up to that point. Then I'll do the same thing right here. Okay, so when I'm done, I'll highlight this hip rafter, then I'll mirror it this side. So what I'm going to do, I'll simply do it like that. So next I'll highlight this line, then I'll stretch it up to this point. Okay, so after that I'll click at the offset command, then I'll offset this line at a distance of 600. Okay, so I'll highlight this line, then I'll trim off these lines because I don't need them. Then after that I'll stretch out this rafter up to that point. I'll press escape, then still I'll use my square for dimensions of 50 by 50. Then I'll move it up to this point. Okay, I'll highlight it, then I stretch it out up to that point. Then I'll click the copy command, then I'll copy this rafter to these different points. Yeah, so when I'm done, I'll highlight them, then I'll stretch them in up to that point, then also up to that point. Yeah, so still I'll highlight this hip rafter, then I'll click at the trim command, and I'll trim off those protruding parts of the jack rafters. So I'll click at the mirror command, then I'll do the mirroring to this side. Yeah, so still I'll highlight them, then still I'll mirror them to this other side. Yeah, so after that I'll click at this line, then I'll offset it still at a distance of 600 millimeters. So I'll select this line and that line. So I'll select my command for extend, then I'll extend these lines. Then still I'll select this line, then I'll select that command for trim, then I'll trim off this excess part of these lines. Okay, then still I'll use that square for dimensions of 50 by 50. Then I'll simply move it up to that point right there. Then I'll drag it up to that point. Then I'll click at the copy command. Then I'll simply copy it to those different points. Then I'll highlight this one. Then I'll stretch it out up to that point. Then I'll do the same thing at this rafter. Okay, so after that I'll stretch out this line up to that point. Yeah, so I'll offset it at a distance of 600. Then I'll copy this rafter up to this point, then also that point and to that point. Then still I'll stretch them out up to that point. Then I'll do the same thing here. Then also I'll do the same thing here. So I'll trim off these protruding parts of the rafters. So after that, we are soon finishing up the alignment of the rafters. So I'll click at the line command and I'll draw a line up to this point. Then I'll click at it, then I'll offset it at a distance of still 600 millimeters. Then I'll do multiple offsets. Yeah. So I'll simply highlight this common rafter. Then I'll copy it to these different points. Okay, so I'll highlight this line, then I'll select this command for extend. So I'll stretch out this rafter up to this point, then also this rafter up to that point there, then also this one up to that point, then also this one up to that point, then also this one up to that point. So I'll highlight this ridge board, then I'll select trim, then I'll trim off these protruding parts of those rafters. Okay, so you find that we are done with putting the rafters. So I'm going to put the fascia board. So I'll highlight this line, then I'll click at the offset command, then I'll offset it at a distance of 9 millimeters. Yeah. So I'll do it across this drawing. So when you're done, I'll place my cursor at this blue dot. Yeah. Then AutoCAD will bring for me this box having stretch vertex, add vertex, yeah, remove vertex. So for me, I'll select stretch. So I'll simply stretch this vertex up to that point right there. Then this one, I'll stretch, sorry, I'll say add vertex. Then I'll put it up there. Then this one, I'll select stretch vertex. Then up to that point. That's how you come up with such such a good shape, yeah, like to fit the angle at which the rafters, I mean the fascia boards, are aligned. Yeah, so still you press escape, then I'll highlight these fascia boards, then I'll do that trimming. So I'll stretch them out like that. So you find that they meet at that point. Then simply I'll trim off that other part of the line. So for this one, I'll simply explode it. Then I'll remove this line. Then I'll highlight these lines. Then I'll select extend. Then I'll extend them up to these lines that I've highlighted, because this vary rafter at this point right here, it has to obtain the shape of the the fascia boards. Yeah, so even I'll trim off that part. Okay, so after that, still I'll do the same thing right here. I'll select stretch vertex up to that point. So okay, when you're done with sorting out each and everything, I'll first delete off these dimensions because I don't need them. I must have done this task at the beginning of the video, but still it's fine. So when you're done, it's time to name our drone. Yeah, so I'll click at my layer for text, then I'll select the leader command, then I'll start with the fascia board. So I'll put in 9 times 225. Oh, sorry. I'll put in 9 times 225 millimeters fascia board. Then I'll give it a height of 200. Yeah. Then I'll move it slightly up. Then I'll add another leader right here. Then also I'll name it as I'll put in 50 by 100 valley rafter. Then I'll give it a height of 200. Try to stretch it out. Then I'll name this one as 50 by 100 millimeters hip rafters. Then I want to name these common rafters, but there's something I want to show you here. In most cases, this is what I do. Then I'll give it a hatch, a solid hatch. Then I'll move it up to this point. Let me place it right here. Then I'll simply copy it to these different points. Yeah, then I'll connect them with a line. Then after that I'll use my leader command. Then I'll put in 50 by 100 millimeters command rafters. Still I'll give it a height of 200. Then right here I'll name this one as my ridge. This is 50 by 100 ridge board. And what else have I not included? Yeah, so still I'll copy this circle, this point and this point. Then I'll connect them with a line. Then I'll use the leader command. Then I'll put in 50 by 100 millimeters hip jack rafters. So you find that this text is coinciding with this text that I have right here. So but then I would love to align it this side. So what I'll do is I'll hover my cursor at that point, then I'll select stretch. Yeah, so you find that it's finally there. Then after that this is 50 by 100 millimeters valley jack rafters. Sorry. I'll place it right there. Okay, so right now what I can say is we have come to the end of this video. And please, if you have really found something helpful and it has added value to you, please don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. Yeah, you can also share this kind of content to friends, relatives that you feel like they're in need of this kind of content. Yeah, thanks for watching. We'll meet next time.